Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Ready for the event.
Voice of America, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is the Voice of America in Roman Mamonov. Can you hear me?
I have you loud and clear, Roman.
Peggy, it's really a big honor to see you and to have you with us. I have to tell you that for some reason I have like a goosebumps. I am so excited and I am so admire your work there in space. Let me begin with real simple questions. What time is it there? Should I say good morning? Should I say good evening? Should I say good afternoon?
It's 13:41, so 1:41 in the afternoon. We run on Greenwich Mean Time here, getting up around 6 a.m. and going to bed around 9 p.m. in the evening. And because we work with control centers all around the world, they are working on various different shifts throughout their nights, their relative nights, but we stay on a standard day based off Greenwich Mean Time.
Can you tell us more about the everyday life? Because a lot of people in our audience actually ask us to ask this question. How you guys work? What time is sunrise there? What time is sundown? Like how you split the shifts between each other?
Actually, during the course of a day, because we're traveling around the planet once every 90 minutes, we have 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets. So it's we don't use the sun as our guide for when to go to bed. It's more based on just the time of day. So it works out fine for us. We don't have as many windows as I would like to have on board the space station, so it's not a huge distraction to us to have sunrise and sunset every 45 minutes or so.
Peggy, we asked our audience to send us questions that they want to ask you, and a lot of questions about how you live in zero gravity. What kind of effect it has for your body? Muscle loss, bone loss. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, being in microgravity without gravity to pull on us, our bones do feel the effects. They don't respond normally, and so we have pretty significant bone demineralization. It's actually probably about 10 times more than an osteoporotic woman would lose in a month on Earth, is what we would lose over the course of a year. So it's very important for us to study and understand those effects. We also have fluid shifts that change maybe some potential effects on our vision and our eyes. So there's lots of changes going on in our body, and we are doing many different kinds of research studies to better understand those changes in space.
Can you tell us if you miss actually gravity, do you miss the chance to walk with barefoot on the green grass or put the barefoot on the water and in the sea?
Well, if the question is, do I miss gravity? Mostly I can say no, I don't miss gravity. I think moving around up here is very easy. It's nice once you get adapted to it. You feel comfortable in any orientation. And so being in the lack of gravity is actually very comfortable once you adapt. It's only when you lose a tool and instead of just looking on the floor for it, you have to look everywhere for it. That's when you miss maybe gravity. But to say whether or not I miss walking on a beach or swimming in a lake, that's a different question. Yes, I do miss those things a little bit at times.
Can you tell us a little bit more about International Space Station and which part of International Space Station you're right now? Because we usually see just two kind of pictures, outside of Space Station and that picture that you're right now. So which part this is and where you guys sleep or have dinner, for example?
Actually, this is the U.S. laboratory. It's my favorite module because it's got the most scientific hardware in it that I enjoy using the most. But we have, behind this panel, we have this big combustion chamber where we do studies on flames. Right next to that, we have a microgravity sciences glove box where we can stick our arms inside a closed environment and work on different studies. We have another biophysics. It's basically an enclosed microscope looking at, for instance, biological processes that take a long time, like protein crystallization. We've got a 3D printer that makes objects for us. We've got incubators and refrigerators and freezers to store all our samples that we're collecting as part of the different scientific investigations. But the laboratories, most of the U.S. operating segment laboratories like this, and they were designed to be somewhat interchangeable. So a rack from this module can move to another module, and we can outfit it based on the scientific research that we're doing at the time.
Peggy, our viewer Ivan actually asked us, let's speak more about how your body feels in zero gravity. Do you feel different with how you feel, how you taste food, how you smell different smells? Tell us a little bit more about that.
And I'm not quite sure I got that. Do I feel differently being in space? From a physiological perspective, it's not so much.
Food?
Do I feel differently about food in space? Here, the food is somewhat limited in selection, so there is some sense of lack of variety after some period of time, but the food that we do have is actually quite good.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what kind of experiments you're working right now? Should we expect any breakthrough anytime soon? And can you give us an example of research that was made on the International Space Station and changed our everyday lives?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question because research on the ground takes many, many years, and that's actually the benefit of having this laboratory here is that we can conduct experiments over many different years. For instance, on my first expedition, we were doing a plant growth study, and the interesting thing that's been used and benefited people on Earth is not necessarily the results of the plant growth experiment exactly, but the filtration systems that they used in the hardware that the plants were growing in. Those filtration systems are now used in medical surgical rooms and also in wineries to try and keep out bacterial contamination in wines. So you never know exactly what the spin-off that's going to be used that will apply to Earth, but there's always going to be something, and that's the benefit of doing long-duration research like what we're doing up here. I think there are so many. For instance, on our expedition, we have approximately 280 different investigations going on, and it's some of them are controlled completely by the ground. Some of them we interact with heavily. Some of them are on ourselves personally. So it's a huge variety of different types of investigations, and I think there's a lot of potential application to the ground. Although, just like research on the ground, we can't always predict what that breakthrough will be.
I have two follow-up questions. Speaking about the filtration system, speaking with President Trump, you said that there on International Space Station you treat chlorine and treat water so it's possible to drink it again. Is it just an experiment, or is it just a part of the regular life? And I remember the scene from film with Matt Damon about Mars. He used poop to grow potato. Is it how people will live in the future in on a different planets, you think?
Well, if you think about how much water you need every day, and you think about a trip to Mars, for instance, and say we're going to go to Mars and stay for a year and then come back, we need 3 years' worth of supply of water. And that's a lot of mass of water. And that's for every individual that's flying. And you might want some contingency water just in case. And so having that mass, being able to recycle water is going to be a huge savings in our capability to outfit vehicles for the future transport to Mars and living on Mars or any other planet that we might end up choosing or any other spacecraft that we might want to be on. So what we're doing here is trying to close our life support system such that we can recycle absolutely everything that we can. Right now, in terms of water, we're around 85% able to recycle all our water. We still, in order to go to Mars or to be very efficient when we go to Mars, we need to be at 100% or very, very close to that goal. And here on the space station, we're working on that goal. We're practicing it every day. Since 2009, we've had the urine processing and water processing system up here and have been actually processing urine and actually drinking it. So it's, I think, an engineering experiment every day here on board the station. We're learning things that are going to help us in those future exploration missions, but also going to help us on the ground. For instance, in areas where you might have a lack of water or need to reclaim water, we could develop urine processing or water processing systems that might aid people on the ground as well. So the research won't be just for space benefits, but also has some potential for Earth benefits as well. So I'm very happy that we're doing all this research here. You know, we take all our power is from the sun, and we use that power to break apart the water to make our oxygen that we breathe. The byproducts of hydrogen actually get recombined with the carbon dioxide that we clean out of the air and made back into water. It's a really cool process of recycling that we're doing here.
You told about future possible Mars mission or any other planet. Would you like to be part of, let's say, among the people who will be flying there?
I absolutely would. I think, all of us that sign up to be astronauts are explorers and are interested in that kind of thing. I know there are lots of people on Earth doing different types of exploration type studies, either underwater in the Antarctic. So I think that it's, part of who we are as people to explore, and I would love to be a part of it.
Let's speak a little bit more about everyday life on the International Space Station. Our audience asks us, do you have time to follow the news from Earth, political, economic, culture, or even showbiz? And if so, how do you do that? Do you have, LCD TV or use your laptop or just computer?
We have lots of computers on board, and the ground sends up whatever our preferences are. If we have sports buffs, they send up the sports games for whatever the favorite team is, or your favorite TV shows, or the news. So it's whatever your preferences are that they send up and for entertainment for us, which is great. I love working out and watching the news or watching some TV shows while I'm actually working out. It takes my mind off of the pain of the workout.
What was the last time? I mean, what was the last thing you actually watched? I don't know, CNN or some kind of sport broadcasting or a movie?
This morning when I was working out on ARED, I was watching the nightly news.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you guys discuss politics in International Space Station and space? Of course, I guess you understand that we have, let's say, tensions between Russia and the United States. Do you guys discuss that, or you try to avoid that?
I think up here our priority is being one team, and so I think we don't discuss things that have the potential for that kind of political reaction. We recognize that what we're doing here is very special, and unique. This peaceful development of space.
I have a very specific question from our audience. A lot of people believe in UFO. Do you have any special instructions in case you see something like unidentified flying object outside the International Space Station? And would you like to meet some of these, let's say, green people, green creatures?
Well, actually, there are no special instructions, but I do think it would be very interesting. I would love to meet people from another world.
Peggy, obviously, you guys there have internet and space, and you guys are very active on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. How does it work? Do you have just like a simple gadgets like smartphones, or like we all have here on the Earth? And what about Wi-Fi? Do you have like a regular Wi-Fi or special system?
We have special networks up here that we can access. We can access the internet, but it's extremely slow. When we have a particular type of satellite coverage, we can access the internet, but it's extremely slow. In general, we tend to provide our inputs to be posted by somebody on the ground. So we give the inputs, send them down to somebody, because our email gets synchronized every time we have a KU, a type of antenna coverage that can get that information down to the ground. So that seems to be the most efficient at this point in time, since our internet is more like dial-up speeds.
Peggy, I have a personal question. You have so many records. You were twice commander of the space station, commander of the mission expedition. You break so many records. Do you feel like you break the glass ceiling for women in space?
You know, the records to me, I think, just represent where we are in the space program, and being able to represent NASA as a part of that, I think, is very special for me. And I'm thrilled to have had these opportunities, and I am sure that if we are successful in our programs, that my records will be broken, and that's fine. That's what it's about. Every day we should be setting new records, looking toward the next step, and expanding our capabilities and our knowledge.
Пегги Уитсон, борт-инженер 52-й экспедиции на МКС. Госпожа Уитсон, я не могу выразить свою благодарность за то, что вы нашли время, и благодарность Хьюстону и НАСА за то, что мы смогли организовать этот эфир. Спасибо, что были с нами. Это был специальный проект настоящего времени МКС Live. Увидимся.
Огромное спасибо.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you, all participants. With Voice of America, we are now resuming operational audio communications.